Well, our first guest speaker, roughly speaking, is Daniel. And Daniel's not that far down the road, here in Pennsylvania, Lancaster. So Daniel, but before we get Daniel to talk about himself, we're going to tell you about him, that we know about him.
Yeah, we'd like to tell you a little bit about Daniel. So Daniel Castellanos is the first person with an intellectual disability to attend and graduate from Millersville University. And that set the stage for many others to follow in his footsteps through the Integrated Studies program. He currently works full-time as a cook at the Press Room Restaurant in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Daniel recognizes the importance of inclusive education. In 2017, he was invited to speak to representatives in Washington, D.C. on the reauthorization of the Higher Education Act regarding the importance of higher education for all people. He was also interviewed by WITF, which is a local public television radio stations, and he's featured in their 2018 documentary called Going Home. So Daniel, we're going to turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here with you all. I'm honored to be a part of such a talented panel of speakers, each role modeling many capabilities and passions. I'd like to share with you for a few moments some experiences I have had in the area of education, which have deeply impacted and shaped my life. I'd like to talk to you tonight about 3 key concepts, which I believe are essential to thinking about inclusive higher learning. We'll explore the value of high expectations, how education provides a bedrock of knowledge to navigate the world, and how integrated campuses open the door to social engagement. Let's begin with establishing a need for high expectations. For many people living with intellectual disabilities, low expectations have kept us on the outside of all that our nation's educational system has to offer. We have been kept apart from the typical schedules of the day, apart from the classes that instill the most vital information, and apart from the rest of the student body. My first experience with low expectation was during my time in high school. I attended a life skills class. During high school, I met some students from Millersville University and was taken with how they described their college experience of how a wide open campus and a surplus of opportunities. During an IEP meeting with professionals and educators who were gathered to support my learning, I said that I wanted to go to Millersville University. They quickly informed me that people with intellectual disabilities cannot go to college. They told me it was against regulations. My team of paid professionals presented me with 2 options: get a job or go to a disability college. Some of you may be familiar with such places. Many of these segregated schools have little the campus like to offer. A fellow student told me about their experience touring one of those schools. It has 1 classroom, 1 gym, 1 cafeteria, one dorm, 1 faculty room, all in 1 building. There was no opportunity learning in areas like math, science, and reading. The power of people's low expectation for my life and education were making my options limited. I quickly decided this was not for me, so I made a decision. I told the educators I'll get a job as soon as I get accepted to Millersville University. I had bigger dreams and higher expectations for myself than what others were able to see. Then one day, I was sitting on my couch playing video games when my mother walked into the house and asked if I would come into her room. I thought I was in trouble, but I didn't remember doing anything wrong. I followed her into the room anxiously. She turned to me and said, "Do you remember when you told me you wanted to go to Millersville University?" "Yes," I said. "Well, guess what? You are going to Millersville University as part of a class of 2016. I was overwhelmed with joy. Soon after our conversation, I met Thomas Newville, and he told me all about the new integrated studies program that he was putting together at the college. He told me, "You could be the first person with an intellectual disability to study at Millersville and be the change for the state of Pennsylvania." And that sounded much better for people who held high expectations. For me, gave me the courage to reach for more. The reason that high expectations are so important, particularly in education, is closely connected to my second point, which is that a good education provides a bedrock of knowledge we all use to navigate the world. For years, I was kept from the kind of learning that has provided to be most essential to living life. My experience at Millersville opened my eyes and mind to the need for all people to have access to good education. During my college years, I was exposed to many classes which taught me a number of important skills and crucial knowledge. I'll list them to give you a sense of what I'm talking about. I took an acting class, which introduced me to taking risks, trying new things, building confidence. I also took a public speaking class where I learned that public speaking can be conversational. You don't need to have a bunch of tricks up your sleeve, and you don't need to picture everyone naked. It taught me how to tune out the noise when speaking and how to craft a good speech. I took sociology of the family and learned about healthy family lifestyle and dysfunctional lifestyle. I learned about family economies, cost of living, and how the world works. I took a U.S. history where I learned the context of how we came to America. I learned about old history as well as current events, which helped me to understand that there are still problems in the world, how discrimination still exists. And it makes me want to tell the world that people with disabilities are human too. It makes me want to challenge people who are trying to define normal. Because I know that all people are different and everyone has something to contribute to the world. I took an entrepreneurship class and learned about owning a business, how to develop ideas that are profitable, how to investments, develop business plan, how to copyright work and trademark. I took math, actual math, not special math. And I was provided much more knowledge that I will need. Things like geometry, percentage, and division. I took theater appreciation, acting 2, love songs, and popular music, and introduction to sociology, and of course on wellness. All of these classes helped me to grow and gave me a more in-depth understanding life. In college, I was required to do an internship, just like most college students. My internship at Millersville grew into a full-time job at one of the most prominent restaurants in Lancaster City. Little did I know, while I was applying for the internship, the president of the university, who was good friends with the restaurant owner, put in a good word for me. These kinds of connections, opportunities, and educational experiences gave me a way to sustain a healthy lifestyle after graduation. I had so many opportunities to develop skills and knowledge that I use in everyday life by having access to difficult classes with a wide variety of students. I benefited from the networks of my fellow students, my professors, even my administrators, in the same way that we all rely on such knowledge and networks to get ahead in the world. Which brings me to my final point. Integrated campuses open doors to social engagement. I remember my first day on campus when I went to orientation and saw people playing games, having fun, and I was a part of that. And in my special education class, in high school, only the people with disability stayed together. I barely knew any of the students in my school. So I would stay in the classroom and often felt alone. But living on campus got me walking around, running into people who I got to know. I spent a lot of time at the Student Memorial Center, otherwise known as the SMAC. The first two friends I made were Jordan Myers and Tyler G. Jordan helped to tutor me so that I could succeed in class. And before I knew it, we were good friends. I met Josh and Austin in my acting class, Nicole in theater appreciation. I met Kristen through my internship at the press room. The first day of class, I didn't really know what to do. I didn't know how to do the online work. But by being in class with a variety of people with lots of different skill sets, I was able to meet people who share their knowledge. A lot of fellow students were helping me out and making sure I was learning the online system. I joined in order to make it through this semester. I joined Cinemart, a drama club on campus. It was so interesting to see how theater works. So I started to attending shows of my fellow acting students, which got me talking to them more. You know, in life skills class, they tried to teach us social skills, but we were kept away from the other students. So we didn't have many people to socialize with. But I learned lots of social skills on campus, hanging out with lots of students and grabbing a cup of coffee with friends. Pretty soon, I was joining lots of clubs. The SOLA Club, which was an organization for Latino affairs. The university's activities board, where we plan events on campus. ACMO, which is the all-campus musical organization. All these classes, clubs, and activities connected me to meaningful relationships and opportunities that I never experienced. They also gave me opportunities to share my gifts and contribute in unique ways. It has connected me to speaking engagement, a decent job, opportunities to see new places and a platform to advocate for change. These are the kinds of benefits that all people in society need access to. So our expectation must be high. We should expect that all people can benefit from higher education because all people need access to the knowledge that allows us to live and move in the world. And all people require opportunities to form relationships and contribute to their society. Toward the end of my time at Millersville, Thomas Newville pulled me aside and said, "You've been setting a positive example. And now many parents want to bring their sons and daughters to Millersville University. having gone to college in a truly integrated way, has allowed me a position to stand for my people in a way that Martin Luther King Jr. and other advocates who have stood for their people. So here I stand before you on behalf of people with intellectual disabilities to say that all people deserve the right to a good integrated education with an expectation that they will go to college and succeed in the world. Thank you.